Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much for joining. In my previous vlog, I have talked about reading food labels, hidden sugar, and understanding carbohydrates. Today, I'd like to talk about fats and the truth about healthy fats. For a very long time, many of us were told that fat is bad for our health. We started buying anything labeled low-fat because we believed it had to be the healthier choice. Restaurants proudly advertised low-fat meals, supermarkets filled their shelves with low-fat products, and many people began avoiding foods like eggs, nuts, avocados, and even olive oil. But is fat really the enemy? The answer is much more interesting than a simple yes or no. Today, let's have an honest conversation about fats, the different types of fats, and why understanding them can help us make better choices for ourselves and our families. Let's start with something that often surprises people. Our body actually needs fat. Yes, you heard that correctly. Fat is not just something our body stores, it has many important jobs. It helps protect our organs, supports healthy cell function, helps our body absorb certain vitamins, and even plays a role in producing hormones. Without enough healthy fat in our diet, our body simply cannot function as well as it should. So the goal isn't to remove fat completely. The goal is to choose the right kinds of fat. I think that's a much healthier way of looking at nutrition. Now let's the fats we generally want to include as part of a balanced diet. You'll find them in foods like avocados, olives, olive oil, nuts, seeds, and oily fish such as salmon, sardines, and mackerel. These foods don't just contain healthy fats, many of them also provide vitamins, minerals, fiber, and other nutrients that support overall health. So next time you eat, think beyond the calories. For example, when you add a handful of almonds to your breakfast or drizzle a little olive oil over a salad, you're not simply adding fat. You're adding nourishment. It's a small change that can make your meals more satisfying and nutritious. Now let's talk about fats that we should try to limit. Foods such as deep-fried fast food, pastries, many commercially baked desserts, processed snacks, and some highly processed meats often contain higher amounts of saturated fat or unhealthy fats. That doesn't mean you can never enjoy these foods. I don't believe in telling people they can never eat something again. Life is meant to be enjoyed. The key word is balance. Having a slice of cake at a birthday celebration isn't the same as eating highly processed foods every single day. Healthy eating isn't about perfection. It's about the choices we make most of the time. One question I hear quite often is, should I stop eating eggs because they contain fat? The answer isn't as simple as yes or no. Eggs are actually a nutritious food. They provide high-quality protein. For most healthy people, eggs can absolutely be part of a balanced diet. Instead of focusing on one food, it's much more helpful to look at your overall eating pattern. Nutrition is never about one single ingredient. It's about the bigger picture. Another food that people often avoid is avocado. Some people look at an avocado and say, it contains fat, so I shouldn't eat it. But avocado is a wonderful example of why understanding nutrition is so important. Yes, it contains fat, but it mainly contains healthy unsaturated fats, along with fiber and other nutrients. Adding slices of avocado to a sandwich or salad can actually make your meal more filling and satisfying. Let's also talk about cooking oils, because this is something many people ask me about. When you're cooking at home, the type of oil you choose matters. Olive oil is a popular option for many everyday dishes and salad dressings. Other oils can also have a place depending on how you're cooking. What's important is remembering that oils are still calorie-dense, so using them in reasonable amounts is part of a balanced approach. More isn't always better. Even healthy foods should be enjoyed in moderation. Now, if our body needs fat, you might be wondering, why has fat gotten such a bad reputation? The answer is actually quite simple. Not all fats are the same. Some fats can be part of a healthy, balanced diet, while others are best eaten less often. Let's start with trans fats. Trans fats are considered one of the least healthy types of fat because they can raise LDL, often called the bad cholesterol, and lower HDL, the good cholesterol. Over time, eating too much trans fat has been linked to a higher risk of heart disease. The good news is that many countries have reduced or removed industrial trans fats from the food supply, but it's still worth checking food labels, especially on imported packaged foods or older products. One clue to look for on the ingredients list is the phrase partly hydrogenated oils. If you see those words, that's a sign the product contains industrially produced trans fat, even if the nutrition panel shows 0 grams trans fat, and some companies getting 0 grams of trans fat if their serving is very small. That's why reading the ingredient list is just as important as reading the nutrition facts. So whenever you're shopping, take a quick look at the ingredients. If you see partly hydrogenated oil, it's usually a good idea to choose another product if you have the option. Another word that often worries people is cholesterol. Many people think that if a food contains cholesterol, they should avoid it completely. But cholesterol is a little more complicated than that. Our bodies naturally make cholesterol because we actually need it for important functions, including making hormones, vitamin D, and building healthy cells. When people talk about cholesterol in blood tests, you'll often hear two terms, LDL cholesterol and HDL cholesterol. LDL is often called the bad cholesterol because high levels can contribute to plaque building up in the arteries over time. HDL is known as the good cholesterol because it helps carry excess cholesterol away from the arteries and back to the liver, where it can be processed. That's why healthcare professionals don't just look at your total cholesterol, they look at the overall picture. For most people, a heart-healthy eating pattern that includes more unsaturated fats and limits foods high in saturated and trans fats can help support healthy cholesterol levels. If you have cholesterol or another medical condition, it's important to follow the advice of your healthcare professional. The message I want you to remember isn't that fat is bad. The message is that not all fats are created equal. Instead of trying to remove all fat from your diet, focus on choosing healthier sources of fat more often and limiting foods that are high in trans fats or heavily processed. I also want to mention something that has become very popular on social media. Every few weeks, there seems to be a new diet telling us to completely remove one type of food. 1 month it's carbohydrates, the next month it's fats, then it's fruit. Nutrition isn't supposed to be that confusing. Our body doesn't need extremes. It needs balance. Whenever someone tells you that one food is magical or one nutrient is completely evil, I think it's worth taking a step back and asking whether the advice is really supported by good evidence. Good nutrition isn't built on fear. It's built on understanding. So don't be afraid of fat. Be informed about fat. Choose more healthy fats from foods like nuts, seeds, fish, olives, and avocados. Limit highly processed foods that can opt healthy foods. Limit highly processed foods that contain less healthy types of fat. And remember that healthy eating isn't about one meal. It's about the habits we build over weeks, months, and years. Small changes really do add up. My goal is to make health information simple, practical, and easy to understand so that together we can make informed choices without feeling overwhelmed. If you found today's vlog helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you shared it with your family and friends and with someone who's afraid of eating healthy fats. I'd also love to hear from you. What's one food containing healthy fat that you enjoy? Is it avocado, nuts, olive oil, fish, or something else? Let me know in the comments because I genuinely enjoy reading your thoughts and experiences. Thank you so much for spending these few minutes with me. If you'd like to explore more public health topics and practical health tips, you're always welcome to visit my blog at sehatnamanadiawordpress.com. Until next time, stay informed, stay healthy, and remember, your health is your greatest investment. I'll see you in the next vlog.